It is F1 time, and it's time for third practice here in Tuscany, Italy, here on the Magello streets, the Magello race circuit. And as we can see, Isaac Hadjar leaving the pits in his Red Bull, along with his teammate Max Verstappen. But it is time for third and final practice before qualifying tomorrow here in Magello, here in Tuscany. As it is time, Ferrari drivers are taking to the track, and so are the rest of the grid. It is time for third practice as the cars take to the track. We got multiple cars leaving the pits and everything else. And, well, it's time for third practice, so let's go ahead and get into it. Let's do this. Third practice. And we got Isaac Hadjar getting started with his lap, and actually just finished the lap, so not bad stuff from Isaac Hadjar. Here comes Verstappen, and then Hamilton to complete his lap as well. Hamilton goes up to the top of the board. That's not surprising whatsoever, and more drivers are coming across line, including his new and young teammate Arthur Leclerc. And Leclerc makes it a Ferrari 1-2, but look out for Bent Oliver Junebug. Here we go. Across the line, and that is way too easy. The fastest time for Junebug. There we go. And what about his teammate Valtteri Bottas? But wait, here comes George Russell in the Mercedes. And Russell comes across the line. Russell goes up to second. But what about VB77, Valtteri Bottas, looking to announce his presence in a big way as the rest of the field in the EN7 Trackhouse Racing Cadillac. And Valtteri's looking really good so far. It's been a pretty good season for Valtteri. He's won the opening Grand Prix back in Australia, and he's looking for yet another Grand Prix win. He comes across the line, and it'll be fourth place. So Bottas goes up to fourth, but it's still looking really interesting to say the least for the EN7 Trackhouse Racing Cadillac crew. They've been looking really good, and here's Kimi Antonelli. And Antonelli, he's won 2 races in a row, and well, he would love to back this up with another win here in Tuscany, so you never know what he could do. Yeah, you know, and now he's in Formula 2 at one point last year, and now this year he is getting behind the wheel up in F1 car, and Antonelli goes up to 6th, and is 8th for Oscar Piastri, who was right behind Kimi. And Junebug currently has the fastest time, as we can see Hamilton leaving the pits to go out for another lap, and pretty good stuff as well. Arthur's P9, so not bad, but Junebug, he's got the fastest time right now. But what about his teammate Valtteri? You might see Valtteri pull off the element of surprise with him. Yeah, he does a nice job. He stands it, and then he hits his throttle as hard as he can. Junebug on for another lap as he is racing to the downhill sections of turn number 1, 2 downhill parts at this race circuit at Magello. And it's really interesting. The elevation changes are absolutely insane, that some drivers even say it feels like the car is actually weightless. Lewis Hamilton once said for an interview that the car feels weightless when it goes down towards those 2 downhill sections in the turn number 1. And so you definitely know, that's not what he wants. He gets held up by a Williams as he comes across the line, and that's definitely not what Hamilton wanted. But again, the elevation changes are extremely powerful. They can make the car, especially this newer F1 car, feel absolutely weightless. And so the track itself, it feels like an absolute roller coaster. There's uphill changes and there's downhill changes. And then there's that turn right there, the final corner. There is a major curve. It's like at Zandvoort And again, the elevation changes are absolutely strong, and so you want to be absolutely careful around this racetrack and not to go absolutely fast, because if you do that, you're gonna end up straight in the tire barriers. I kid you not. Very good time from Junebug. He does not improve that time necessarily, but he does get the fastest third sector, so not bad. Here comes Bottas. Here comes Valtteri Bottas coming across the line, and it'll be... Oh, second place. There it is. There it is. It is an EN7 Trackhouse Racing Cadillac 1-2 Junebug, and then Valtteri Bottas. Great stuff. And Nelly on a hot lap right here, the local home hero, looking for a race win. His third race win in a row, and so it's looking really good for Antonelli. We'll see what he can do. And so we watched Kimi Antonelli trying to, oh, look at this. He's getting held up expeditiously by two slow-moving Aston Martins. Yeah, those Astons are looking really slow, and they were just trying to get out of Antonelli's way, but the space was way too tight for Antonelli and the Mercedes. Using the active arrow and rolling down towards the main street and down towards the downhill sections of turn 1. Kimi Antonelli stays 6th in his Mercedes, and it's still not looking quite good for the Mercedes. Well, not necessarily the Mercedes camp, but for the Ferrari camp, because Hamilton's 4th, but Arthur is now 11th. That is way far compared to St. Bradis. And we watch Hamilton. Let's take a ride with Lewis Hamilton in his Ferrari. Great stuff here from Lewis Hamilton as we ride on board with Junebug now. We'll see what Junebug can do, but then again, he already has the fastest time. All he needs to do is to simply improve the time, so it'll be hard for the other drivers to beat the time, even though it's the final practice session. You want to save that for qualifying tomorrow. And again, with the elevation changes, that can be slightly difficult. Here comes Junebug across the line. He does indeed improve his lap time. What about his teammate Bottas? Be right on board. Hit Valtteri Bottas, his teammate right there, trying to get a really good lap time so he can at least stay second. I think he can do that fairly easily because time is ticking down here in third practice, and as we ride on board with Valtteri, he's doing a pretty good job at keeping the car on all 4 lines. Yeah, Valtteri, he's doing a pretty good job being right behind the wheel of this thing, and so you definitely know what Hamilton can do. Down towards the final corner, Valtteri Bottas is going to come across the line. Hamilton, he's finished his lap time. He's in the pits, and Valtteri will stay second. And I don't think he really improved much on his lap time. We're on board with Oscar Piastri right now in his McLaren. 1 minute and 10 seconds left on the clock here in FP3. As we can see, Oscar is doing a pretty good job of keeping himself in line. And he's doing a pretty good job as well. There's a Ferrari right in almost in the middle of the track. That is really going to upset Oscar, and the dirty air will be all over that McLaren. But now Oscar's still going to go ahead and make the turn, and he's still going to throttle it all the way as we got 38 seconds out on the clock almost. There it is, 38 seconds out on the clock, and drivers are ducking in the pits where they will stay in the pits more likely. Well, Isaac Catchaw's going for an outlap, even though it's likely he won't finish it, and you can see other drivers down in the pits. Piastri will stay 13th, yes he does. Piastri stays 13th, and Alonso, I think this is pretty obvious, with 15 seconds left on the clock, it'll be 22nd, he'll stay dead last. But it's Bent Junebug P1 in FP3. Pretty good stuff here, as Junebug is at a Bottas, Hamilton, Russell, Norris, Sainz, and Nelly, Isaac Catchaw, Verstappen, and Nico Hulkenberg. Yeah, apologies for the commentary. We've had problems with our microphones, and other than that, pretty good final practice. And look at Arthur and Oscar, not looking too good for them. Yeah, but again, it's Arthur's debut. He's definitely going to improve as time goes on, and so pretty good stuff. But join us tomorrow for qualifying at Mugello.